Welcome to aminacademy.com. Now we can see derivative of product of two function, that is product rule. F of g into f of x into g of x, f of x into g of x whole days, that is differentiation of the product of two function, is f dash of x into g of x plus g dash of x into f of x. We can prove this rule. Now by definition, f of x into g of x whole dash by first principle, limit h tends 0, f of x plus h into g of x plus h minus f of x into g of x over h, where h is small increment given on x. Further, f of x into g of x whole dash equal, we can add the term f of x plus h into g of x, add and subtract. First write f of x plus h, g of x plus h, add and subtract f of x plus h into g of x, subtract f of x plus h into g of x minus f of x into g of x over, that is 1 over h. We can write f of x plus h f of x plus h by factorizing f of x plus h common out, then g of x plus h plus g of x. Now we can rewrite like f of x plus h into g of x plus h minus f of x plus h into g of x, then plus f of x plus h into g of x minus f of x into g of x into 1 over h. Now factorize the common term, that is f of x plus h into g of x plus h minus g of x for first expression Then second expression, take g of x is common, then f of x plus h minus f of x, then completely divide by h, which this for limit h tends 0. Everywhere we have to apply the limit x tends 0. Then split the limit for both terms, that is limit h tends 0 f of x plus h into g of x plus h minus g of x, as well limit h tends 0 g of x into f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Now by applying limit as x tends 0, that is f of x into g of x plus h minus g of x over h, and h tends 0 gives differentiation of the function g, that is g dash x, plus limit h tends 0 g of x is not affected because there is no h in g here, g of x, therefore write that one as g of x into limit h tends 0 f of x plus h minus f of x over h gives f dash of x. Therefore the product rule we can write as f of x into g of x whole dash is equal, first write this here, f dash of x into g of x plus f of x into g dash of x. Hence we proved.